everyone. We have our eyes on Anambra State today as it gears up for the crucial November 8, 2025 governorship showdown. But let's begin with an update from the state where, in a dramatic disciplinary move, we're hearing that the State House of Assembly has suspended Honorable Bernard Udumezue of Ayamelum constituency for 3 months without salary for social media post deemed damaging to the assembly. The lawmaker, who was elected on the platform of the PDP, had alleged that his area was being marginalized in the allocation of constituency allowance. We are tracking that story closely and we'll be bringing you updates subsequently. The campaign trail, however, in Anambra is lighting up with drama, defections and high-stakes protests. The incumbent, Governor Chukwuma Soludo of APGA, is floating on endorsements and infrastructure victories. But key contenders are scrambling to redefine the race. Tonight, we have an exclusive interview with Sir Paul Chukwuma, who's a lawyer and YPP's governorship candidate, who, after resigning from the APC over alleged primary irregularities, clinched the YPP ticket by consensus, is now taking on Soludo head-on, and even recently led a protest over security concerns in Awka. So we're going to be digging into his candidacy, campaign strategy, criticisms of government, and indeed what he brings to the table in a race dominated by an influential incumbent. Thank you for joining us on the program, Sir Chukwuma.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's first get your reaction on the suspension of Honorable Udumezue at the State House of Assembly. He's been suspended for 3 months for a social media that the Assembly deemed damaging to the House. What are your thoughts as regards this?
Yes, thank you very much. What is going on currently in Anambra State is a huge shame. The Anambra State Assembly, unfortunately, have allowed themselves not just, to be used as rubber stamp assembly. They've also indulged in what I call the logic of illogicality of self-harm. Today is about Honorable Udumezue. Tomorrow, I'm certain, with the way the current administration in Anambra State is going, it will obviously be another person. What was Udomezue's, Honorable Udomezue's offense? The young man decided, for once, to speak out, to inform the Anambra about what is going on in his constituency in relation to the constituency projects that is, as a matter of fact, the right of a member representing his people to give account of his stewardship. And the state government, of course, I've said several times in this station that we have a state governor who is an emperor, who is not interested in anything that has to do with rule of law.
You're not in any way suggesting that the state governor has influence on the State House of Assembly. It sounds a little bit overreaching, calling him an emperor and all of that, but I want us to stick with the issues. If revealing public fund allocations is punishable, just a minute, sir. If revealing public fund allocations is punishable, I'd like us to focus on what you're bringing to the table. How will your administration encourage and protect transparency, especially when officials speak truth to power? And I'm looking at a way it can be done independently, not just because you are governor.
Yes, Nifemi, but you see, we need to keep the record, set this record straight. In the first place, the State Assembly has no reason, no basis to suspend the Honorable member representing Ayamelmo State constituency. Secondly, if we are to even presume, without conceding, that the State Assembly were to go ahead with such a suspension, the Honorable member is entitled to fair hearing. Right. Nothing of that was done. The Honorable member was not given a fair hearing. The governor insisted, and as usual, forced the rubber stamp State Assembly to suspend an elected member, again showing the dictatorial tendency of the governor. And the fact that the State Assembly is nothing but a rubber stamp State Assembly legislature. You know,
all right.
And it's the State Assembly that cannot even raise motion when a sitting, serving member of the Assembly was killed. The governor insisted and gave a very clear directive to the State Assembly not to raise any motion on security. Now, a House member is giving account of his stewardship to his people, and the only thing he gets for doing that is suspension and his salary withheld.
It is important.
No, hold on 1 second. I can assure you that his constituents will rally behind him. Right. And I can tell you that the young man is not going to lose anything in terms of the salary, because his people will rise up and pay him that salary.
It is important to note, Mr. It is important to note that we cannot independently substantiate some of the claims you're making, especially when it comes to the accusations and the allegations you're making against Mr. Governor. But I want us to talk about you for a minute. You were a frontline APC aspirant, and I remember you spoke confidently on this channel, I think it was in March, that APC was well positioned to win Anambra. And then just before the APC primary, you resigned, citing irregularities. Walk us through briefly exactly what happened at that primary, what went wrong, and why you chose to depart.
Thank you very much, Nifemi. I think the records, you have the records of my appearances here in your station. I've never made any comment regarding a primary that I was not part of. So I was wondering why your question about what happened at the primaries. I was not part of the APC primaries. I did not participate in that primaries. And so I don't have the gift of bilocation to comment on what happened in an event I was not present. And having said that, I decided, and I said it, if I'm not mistaken, in this particular studio, that I decided that after consultation, I'm a deeply spiritual person, and I also have my constituents and my political family. And after due consultation, I decided, to join the YPP. And remember, I also said that as today, I am the leader of the progressives in Anambra State. We are all progressives, and we are working together to ensure that the right thing is done.
It is strange, though, because you have been with the APC for as long as, I think, 2014, if I can recall. And it's a party that is in power at the center. Why would you leave the APC and then join the YPP to run for governor? But another important thing to note here is that you secured the YPP ticket through a consensus vote. It sounds promising, but many critics argue that consensus picks lack the vitality and legitimacy of competitive primaries. How do you respond to that concern, that being the sole candidate could be a disadvantage in preparing for a real election?
Nifemi, I've known you as a journalist. you are giving me a perspective in politics that I'm not familiar with. If you are saying that consensus is not something that should be encouraged, then I'll be surprised. I'm pretty much sure that it's in all political parties' constitution. The first, consensus does not mean lack of competitiveness. It means that there is an internal competition, and the actors looking at the capacity of the aspirants decided, if we have this quality, we have this capacity in this particular aspirant, why do we need to waste our time and resources? What we want, what we are craving for, the good governance we want to see, are all embedded in this particular aspirant. Must we contest for the sake of contesting when we have every assurance that this particular aspirant, the moment we support him and he emerges the candidate of the party, will represent our aspiration as far as the particular election we are vying for is concerned? That was what happened, and I think where you were able to achieve a consensus, it shows the quality of the candidate that got the consensus in his favor.
All right. It sounds good, but YPP lost its strongest Anambra structure when Senator Ifeanyi Ubah defected to your former party in 2023. And even in 2021, when you look at the figures of that election, ABGA had over 112,000, APC had 43,000 plus. Your party had 21,261. I mean, that's 9% of the vote. What are your chances against an incumbent? And of course, your former party that now has a president at the center.
Yeah, again, as the leader of the progressives, and by this I mean all the progressives in Anambra, we are interested in good governance, both at the federal level and at the subnational, including in our state. I have clearly made clear my position regarding the government at the center. The problem we're having in Anambra State is that despite the huge support the Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu-led administration have given to Anambra specifically, the state government has totally mismanaged our affairs and left the state in a very terrible state. And I say this mindful of my statements. The problem with Anambra State is not with the federal government. The federal government have been quite supportive.
All right.
And I give kudos to the president in this regard. Now, talking about the 2021 governorship election, the former leader of YPP, a distinguished senator of the Republic, distinguished Senator Ifeanyi Patrick Ubah of blessed memory, was more or less, at the time, more interested in consolidating his hold on the Senate. And that was why YPP won that election back-to-back. And I'm not contesting for the Senate. I'm contesting for the governorship position of Anambra State. And if you look at 2 weeks ago, if you follow the event of 2 weeks ago, where we had a by-election, the ABGA won that election because YPP contested that election But our aim is to take over Anambra State through the grassroots appeal and to cure the defects, numerous defects that we have been faced in Anambra State. Right. So the difference between 2021 and today is that in 2021, the leader of the party at the time was not keen. If Ifeanyi Ubah was keen to win that election with YPP, he would have made it a case, but he wasn't. He was more interested in consolidating his senatorial, the gains he has made as a senator, and then by going for the second, tenure.
Hold that thought for a minute, Mr. Chukwuma.
In contesting for senatorial election.
I would like to follow up on that.
Contesting for governorship election. And YPP will, by the grace of God and the support of Anambra, win the November 8th governorship election. We are going to win that election.
We'll touch on that briefly. Let's just go on a short break and then we'll be back to this conversation. Stay with us, everyone. Paul Chukwuma is the YPP governorship candidate in Anambra State, and he's saying that he believes strongly that even though his party had 7% of the total vote in the last election, that he has what it takes alongside the party to win this one. I think I heard you earlier say that you are the leader of progressives. I know that ABGA has progressives in it. Your party, YPP, also has progressives in it. The last time your state governor was in Abuja, he was wearing a hat that read progressives working together. So if you have a governor who acknowledges or who identifies as a progressives, how do you call yourself the leader of the progressives? Who are the real progressives in Anambra? I'm just curious.
The real progressives in Anambra are the masses. And the fact that one is a governor does not necessarily translate to the fact translate to, leading the entire, people and men and women of goodwill in Anambra State. I am standing with the masses. I represent the masses. And that's why I stand clearly to condemn any action that becomes inimical to the progress of the masses. The masses in Anambra State are yearning for true leadership. And that gap is what I've come to feel. It's not about wearing the inscription that, can say something else, but your action is entirely saying the opposite.
All right.
Anambra State is, as we speak, clamoring for a true leader. And that is the space I've come to fill. So I lead the grassroots masses, and I can tell you that Anambra is the home of progressives.
I hear you.
Progressives, but we also need to ensure that the dividend of democracy, is not something we joke with. We must bring it down to the masses and ensure that we carry them along in the process of governing the state.
Allow me to jump in quickly. You mentioned that you're interested in good governance. I'm sure you're aware that that is not the exclusive preserve of a particular candidate. I'm thinking perhaps you will also be willing to support any other person that can provide good governance to the state. But a few days ago, you led a peaceful protest in Oka against the Agune Chamber security outfit. What were you hoping to achieve politically and for residents? Because that same outfit saw 8 operatives dismissed for brutality, including assault on an NYC member. You don't think that was enough?
No. The question, you're a journalist, Ifemi, and I think you should also, I know for a fact that TVC has a very clear background in investigative journalism. I would like you, if you have not done so, to investigate the issues we complained about during that peaceful protest. First, the question you need to ask is, when did the sad event around the core member, when did that happen?
It happened in July.
Yes, and nothing happened.
It happened in July, right?
The 8th, yes, it's about a month ago.
Yeah, because
and nobody did anything.
You keep referencing. No, just hold on, Sir Chukwuma, because you keep referencing the fact that I'm a journalist.
Allow me so I don't lose the thought.
Just
allow me.
Just hold on for a minute. Please. I am going to allow you, because
allow me to answer, Nifemi, please.
Hold on, Sir Chukwuma. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute, right? You are going to have the time to talk. Just, let us make sense of this conversation, because you keep questioning that I'm a journalist. Of course I am, right? That's why I'm talking to you on this show. I remember speaking with the essay to the governor who oversees this outfit. In fact, the decision to sack these individuals came a day or two after that interview. The question I'm asking, and I want us to stick to the issue so that you can better enlighten the people of Anambra and those who would vote for you. The state has sacked operatives and ordered probes after these abuses. If the problem, in your opinion, if the problem is enforcement and oversight, why do you think abolition is the answer rather than professionalization and civilian review? What's your alternative security model and its budget line? I'd like us to speak to the issues because of the short time that we have.
Yeah, but you are taking the time. I thought you were supposed to ask the question, and then I will be the one to answer.
Well, you were distracting away from the question, so I needed to put you right back on track.
To answer. Yeah, no, you allow me to answer, please, Nefemi. Listen.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you for your question. Thank you. The truth of the matter is that we must lay the facts bare. A month ago, this sad event took place, and nothing was done. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes. Nothing was done. Not by the governor, not by the managers of the so-called security organization. And we are talking about, I'm a parent. I have 4 young ladies as daughters. And the moment I saw that video of a core member being assaulted with threat of rape, I was shocked. And remember, this is a young lady that decided to align herself with the National Youth Service Scheme, a policy that was designed for reintegration and the coming together of young people as one. Not only that, the operatives of the Udogachi team stripped this young girl naked. They were threatening to rape her. They picked her up with bare naked after beating and assaulting her, took her to the office, forced her to sit down on a wet floor without wearing anything. For goodness sake, Nifemi, we are not animals. So for a second, the flash that crossed my mind was that this could be my daughter. And I said, no, if nobody was willing to talk about this, I will not keep quiet. So the moment I learned of the MAGA protests, I have no choice than to join them. And then why would it take 1 month for the state government to respond?
Mr. Chukwuma, unfortunately, we have completely run out of time.
10,000 naira. And they gave them 10,000 naira.
Yes.
Each, the core members, and they said they should not speak about this.
You are clearly stating the obvious, and this has been the sentiment of every concerned Nigerian. I told you that I personally had a conversation with the SA on this channel, and we mentioned clearly that it was not only a failure on the part of the security outfit. It was a shame to womanhood the way they have treated the young lady. I was hoping that we could use the time for you to talk about your alternative security model and what you would have done differently. But we're run out of time now. We're going to find time to discuss that later. We have to go now, Mr. Chukwuma. I'm sorry, we have to go, but that's our time. In fact, we have gone 1 minute past it.
No, Nefemi, please. It doesn't make sense, bringing guests to the studio.
Mr. Chukwuma, we have spoken for the past 25 minutes, and that's our time on the show.
You have taken the time to speak.
We have to go, Mr. Chukwuma.
For the government. But you see, the truth of the matter is that this is not proper. Thank you.
That's our show, Mr. Chukwuma. I thought that you would show some appreciation that we've spoken about it for the past 25 minutes. I am in shock that you consider it not enough. But that's our show, unfortunately so. And thank you so much for talking to us. We wish you all the best. Paul Chukwuma is the YPP candidate in Anambra State. We're back